That's a really cool box. You know, it's nice. They did a great job packaging this, but I don't really know why, because I mean, all of this is really nice, but you get a manual, which probably you get some stickers, you get some props. Now the props they send with this, I don't really know. I don't see too many people flying with bi-blades or two-bladed props. These are in a really aggressive bi-blade. It's going to be really fast, but not as controllable as the tri-blade that I usually use. Alright, so here's the frame. You get the frame over here, you got some zip ties, you got your assorted hardware over here. There's really not much to one of these when you actually start looking at it. Yeah, look at that. And you get a 4-in-1 ESC. They already went ahead and put a cap on there for you, so that'll be nice. You get your flight controller, which is in this little bag, and it's an F4 flight controller. Nothing particularly fancy on here, but it does have places where you can plug everything in. And you know, I don't have a problem soldering now, but I hated soldering when I first started. That was the hardest part. I ruined a lot of components trying to learn to solder. And you get this little camera, which I doubt this is the same camera I'd say you get like with a Wizard. They're fine. They're not great, but they work. So I'm gonna build this thing. So I'm flying my Tyro99. I just pretty much got it working, and we're doing a little testing tonight to see how well it works. So, all right, my camera person is completely anonymous, and they're not going to be in this video at all. Not have them not be.
It's on. I can't find it.
Man, this camera is not very good. I can't see at all.
You'll go.
Okay, I can't fly this one. I can't see. Everything's just dark. Okay guys, let's look at some flight footage. On the left we have the Tyro99. On the right we have my regular drone. I don't have the OSD on the Tyro yet because you have to put it in PAL mode for the camera to actually have it in beta flight. So I didn't have the OSD, but now it does work. So comparing the cameras, on the right I have a cheap, I want to say, yeah, cheap Fox ear. I think it's an Arrow. Yes, it's definitely a micro Arrow. Not a real high-end camera. It's like a $20 camera. It's definitely better. Way, way sharper. Colors are a lot more warm, a lot better. But the super cheap camera in the Tyro99 is fine. Everybody said it's terrible and you have to delete it. It's fine if you're going to fly in full bright light. It's fine in full bright light. You can kind of tell that the shadows don't have quite as much depth. There's not a whole lot in the shadows. They're pretty dark. And what happened is when I flew this thing later in the evening, I flew in a shadowy area that was like bright light, but I was in a big shadowy area. And I don't have any footage from this evening. I forgot to turn on the recorder, but it was really bad. It was almost unflyable. And I mean, it's really bright outside when I was flying. It was the evening. It was around 5:30, but I just could not see. The camera became completely useless. So if you're going to fly in any kind of challenging, high dynamic range sort of situation, then it's not a great camera. And that's the first thing to upgrade. And it's probably the first thing I'm going to upgrade. So you could probably tell if you haven't, the Tyro doesn't have the power that my regular drone does, and both are on 4-cell, but the just doesn't have the power here. The bi-blades don't produce nearly as much power as I'm used to, but I mean, here's the thing. It's plenty powerful. If it's your first drone, it's going to be way more than you can probably handle anyway for a while. So I think it works fine with the bi-blades. I think it's got plenty of power. And, you know, that's what I know so far. That's all I know so far. I haven't flown it enough to say how durable any of it is, but, you know, I mean, it's basic stuff. I've been flying for a while now. I'm expecting it to last. All right, guys. So I bought this to see if it was like the cheapest, best, basic beginner drone I could buy. I wanted something that I could fly around pretty dangerously and not really worry about just bashing it and stuff and breaking it. I thought the frame with its aluminum looked pretty tough, and the fact that there's just not a lot of frame here to break and the arms look pretty beefy. And so, you know, am I glad I bought it? Well, I'm just gonna throw out some random thoughts here and then you can decide. For $99, this is a pretty good deal, I think. Just out of curiosity, I just put enough stuff in a shopping cart to build a 5-inch, about the cheapest 5-inch drone I could put together on race day quads, buying new parts. It added up to about $160, and that includes maybe not every little thing you'd need, but I think almost everything, about $160. And that's going to be a lot better drone than this. A much bigger frame, not this little kind of almost micro mini sized frame, but a more typical 5-inch frame. They're about $25 and stuff like that. And if you shop around, you shopped on Amazon, because you can get some parts quite a bit cheaper, like VTXs and stuff you can get super cheap from other places. Maybe you could probably get that down closer to the $99. So this is nice because you get everything together, and the best part about this is if you haven't put a drone together, you don't have to solder tiny wires. You can just plug everything up. The 6 wires or the 12 wires you've got to solder to the ESCs, that's not really that hard, and it's a really good introduction to learning to get better at soldering because you're not soldering tiny little wires. But it's still, if you're brand new, there's still a chance you might melt down your ESC or tear something up. So this is a great deal if you want to, low cost introduction drone to learn how to put one together. For about $150-ish, you can get an Eachine Wizard X220S, which is pretty similar, a little bit more powerful motors, maybe a little better camera and VTX maybe, but a much bigger drone, but they fly about the same. This is my opinion. All of these 5-inch drones, no matter what the frame kind of looks like, to me they all pretty much fly about the same. I mean, the ZMR 250s with their bigger, heavier frame definitely fly a little bit wonkier than a 210 or 220 or 230 that's more modern, like one of these. But honestly, I mean, it's hard to recommend, because I think if you're going to want to upgrade a few parts, the camera probably pretty quick. You're going to want to upgrade this camera. The VTX, you're probably going to want to upgrade it at some point. You're going to want to upgrade the props. The motors, I thought they're fine, but you might upgrade to a little bit more powerful motor. I don't know. But I mean, for $99, I would say if it's your first drone and you want to build one, but here's the thing, you're buying from Banggood. I got mine from the USA. I ordered it like on a Monday and it arrived on Friday. $99 plus I think a few bucks, like $3 for shipping. Right now they're only available, I just checked the website, they're only available from China, and everything that I've had shipped to me from China is at least 3 weeks. It says 7 to 15 days. I've waited a lot longer from everything I've bought from. If it's not coming from the USA, if it's coming from the Chinese warehouse, it's going to take a while. So I would not buy one of them. I'm just not that patient. I would have a hard time waiting. If you buy the parts from Race Day Quads, you're going to get them in 3 days, and you can start building your drone. So, am I real happy with it? It's okay. It does go together easy. It is a pretty cool looking little frame. I think it is going to be pretty tough. If you can get one from the USA warehouse and you're not worried, or you're not worried about waiting for a month to get it, then I would say go ahead. If you have to get it from the USA warehouse, I would say shop somewhere else. Like right now, the Wizard X220S is at the USA warehouse. So you could get that in a few days if you ordered it. And, it's another $45, but it's already put together for you, for one thing, so you don't have to worry about that Probably, if you're wanting to get into this, building one's a really good idea. Honestly, I would be building one and get one to fly. But anyway, so hey, Tyro99, final verdict. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.